Hi, Tony from FARMOOR Koi. Well, before I do anything else, I've just got to say, last night, the 7th of December, was a fantastic night. On GKP Live, there was the Macmillan Cancer Appeal, and it was a fabulous night. It was great fun. First of all, it was great fun. But most importantly of all, a lot of money was raised. And I'm very proud anyway to have been a part of it in a very small way. I'm not going to get into lots of names because I'll probably miss somebody out, and I wouldn't want to upset anybody for the world, because they was all fantastic. All those that organised, participated, watched, donated, bid. You couldn't wish for a better evening, and congratulations to everybody. And I don't know what the latest count is, but it was certainly approaching £4,000 that had been raised. Who knows, it may have got there, it may have even gone over a little bit, but it was a really fantastic effort. And wow, thank you all for letting me be part of it. I really enjoyed it. Now, I'm sat in here because I'm not doing really an external video as such. I have found some old photos in my archive of when my pond was built. Unfortunately, it's only very partial. There's none of the groundworks, none of the dig, none of the foundations or slab going in, and none of the blocks being built. But at least I've got some photos of once the pond was really up, and it shows that. But it also I've got some pictures of the temporary pond I set up at my sister's house at the time, because I was moving house, and I had to set this pond up a few months in advance of actually selling the house to get my fish moved over. And once the fish was moved over, I was quite happy to go ahead and get my house sold, really, so I could move on. And they stayed in that temporary pond for the best part of a year, in 2006, 17 years ago. So pictures, stills really. There's a little bit of video at the end of the first occupants of the pond and whatnot. Yeah, and that's about it really. I hope you enjoy it. If it's a bit boring for you, just skip through it really. I don't blame you. I won't be offended. But anyway, it's the best I can do on a pond build. See you in a minute. Hi, I found some of my old pictures of my pond build, but not only that, of the temporary pond when I moved house. I moved house in 2006, and the pictures you're seeing now are of a temporary pond that was set up in my sister's garden. I moved from East Oxford to Farmooor where I am now, but my sister lived at Kidlington, so she very kindly let me construct this ugly old pond made out of 4 sheets of 8x4 WBP ply and lots of 4x2s surrounding it. Chucked a pond liner in it, brought over some old box filters from my old pond and matured it up as best I could, and moved my fish, and they were in there, as you can see through the net there. They were in there for the best part of 2006 really, because it took me most of the year to build the new pond, which was a higher priority than doing any work in my new home, much to my wife's frustration. So yeah, my sister would go out and chuck a handful of food in each day and keep them happy. And I can remember tearing this down after I'd moved the fish, and I have to say I didn't clear the mess up for quite some time and left it. Sorry, Julie. So my pond build, I'm afraid I haven't got any pictures of the early part of it for the dig and the block laying, so it's more or less built really. But this is the filter pit where the Nexus was to go. You can see the 4-inch bottom drain installed there, and some returns. This is actually the pond itself, and so you can see the skimmer in the far wall and the bottom drain at the bottom. I had a lot of ingress of water. I was having to pump on the outside of that all the time because I was well into groundwater, and yeah, used some damp proofing stuff that is used in the trade in tanking. I forget what it's called now, but you literally brush it on like a slurry and stop the water pouring in. So this was a view from the outside, done in those sort of fake stone blocks, but I thought it looked quite attractive. You can see on the side there the Nexus ready to go in the pit. This is the view of the back of the pond. As you can see, all the making good is done. It's actually built really, and the grass and the border there and the paving down the side are all made good. There was a drain run where those plants are along the back. That's why I couldn't make it any longer than it is. This is a side view. As I say, the paving slab's back in place. Everything's been tidied up, and yeah, ready to get on with the interior. Now these two chaps helped me out. I was going to fiberglass, which I did fiberglass it, but the blocks weren't very smooth, and I hadn't heard of putting some thin insulation on it like they do now, so it was going to go straight on there. So I had it rendered. These two chaps rendered it, Dudley and Nigel. I wonder where they are now. They're really good chaps. Made a nice job of rendering it round. They sort of coved all the corners out for me as I wanted. Yeah, they made a really nice job of it. It's about the only thing I didn't redo myself. Old Dudley is a tall chap. He's still down in the depths of that pond, really. But he was about 6'2", I think. Nigel's shorter. But yeah, I was going to make the pond a lot longer than it is, but unfortunately my sewer runs round the back. In fact, it ran across diagonally where the pond is, and I had to divert it on a right angle, and it only just had enough fall to to deal with it. But anyway, it's been good running around there. That was Dudley putting the slurry on underneath, the waterproof slurry. Now this is where, there's none of me in this I'm afraid, but this is where I was fiberglass in it. So you can see the layers of fiberglass I've put on two of the walls there. And there's in the bottom. I think that's probably no further progress, because that's probably just a different angle on what I'd done. But yeah, I didn't find the fiberglass in too bad, to be quite honest. I had some nice weather for it at the time, so there you go. Just got the floor to do. Yeah. Then I'm afraid I had some rain threatened before I could get the top coat done, but anyway, this was where I laid all the roll of fiberglass out to cut the lengths. Put the blue tarpaulin on the ground to keep the fiberglass clean, but I had to use that for something else a bit later on. I have to say, I quite enjoyed the build, but you want it to go as quick as you can. You've got all those fish in the temporary and you want to get them in there, don't you? So yeah, so before I put the flow coat on, I had the threat of rain, so I ended up using the tarpaulin to cover the pond up. So yeah, it's a lot of hard work building a pond, and I didn't want to build another one, which I haven't. So as I say, this is 17 years ago now, and it's not changed much. This is one of the first occupants when I moved them across. Funnily enough, the red kajaku. Yeah, it was a lovely fish. I think I lost it some years ago now, but it was, yeah, nothing very special, but it was, yeah, it was quite a big fish. This next one was one that I had right from the beginning of my looking after koi. Got quite big. I think I had to move that one on. And yeah, a Yamabuki and a he at Shuri there. And then, yeah, more or less had got them all in then from my sisters. You can see across the far side I haven't got any copings on that yet, just the fiberglass turning over the top. Had a nice Becco in there and a Sankey. Got the copings on in this next shot. Yeah. Next view is the top of the Nexus in the pit. That was the only filtration I had on it originally. Just started off with the Nexus. And the electrics are in there, but they've been moved now, they're no longer in that pit. It was quite a tight squeeze. And quite difficult to get in and out of there. I don't have to get in and out now, I've rearranged it. Anyway, this was, I think, the following year. I wasn't too pleased with the fines I was getting. Nexus was doing a great job on filtration, but the clarity wasn't great, so I fitted a bead filter. So this bead filter comes after the Nexus, and then goes back to the return. I did have 2 returns running off the Nexus, but I cut it down to just 1 return off the bead with an Eco Blue 320 pump. All the fittings I had to sort that out. Quite enjoyed doing that. No, there's nothing about the hobby I don't enjoy really. Well, there is losing fish, of course. None of us enjoy that. So I had to build a little enclosure that wasn't there for the bead to go in. So yeah. Really need to disguise that enclosure a bit more. I think maybe give it a coat of black whatever it's called, stain. So that's the bead sat in position. Nice easy thing to clean. I said you don't get your hands wet on a Nexus, but when it was first set up I was getting my hands wet. I don't now I've got it set a bit differently. I set it too low originally, and funny enough it's only last year I raised it up. I put up with losing media at the top of it for so long. Oh dear. So that's the waste pipe work that's been fitted to the bead. That's the Nexus. Media had become quite mature by then. Of course the centre area didn't ever have a lid, and used to lose media out of that all the time. Going into the vortex section, always digging it out, and the moving bed was always going into the outlet. So this is the bead now with the waste and the flow and return fitted to it, and that's it really. Just got a little bit of video at the end of some of its first occupants in the early days. So this was the early days. Many of these fish I've no longer got. They either been moved on, or obviously some of them passed away, but yeah. It's quite a busy pond right from the offset. Used to have a few parties back then, and everybody used to admire the pond when they came to a party. Don't tend to throw many parties these days, but who knows, might throw one for my 70th as yet. Oh well, hope you enjoyed it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. At the time, I enjoyed building it. I had a little bit of help from 1 or 2 people, but not very much really. I certainly couldn't do it these days, 17 years on. But yeah, it was good. Hasn't changed very much. Just recent years, I've added 2 showers to it, and well, I think that's it really. 2 showers, and I've got a plan to put a river filter in next year. So yeah, obviously the fish have moved on, Got quite a lot of nice fish from New Forest koi, and I've also raised some of my own. Well, I say that they're still fry from New Forest koi, but I raised them from 2 to 3 week old fry. And yeah, so if you've stuck with it this long, congratulations. You're very kind. And if you haven't already subscribed to me, I would be so grateful if you would. I'm now 50 subscribers off of the 500 mark. So, but every one of you count very much. So, thank you so much. So, for this one, it's bye for now. See you on the next one.